Welcome everyone. Those of you who are looking to learn to pair trade and you want to do it quickly and efficiently without too much effort, then this presentation is for you. We're going to take you through how to turbocharge your pair trading using Pair Trade Finder Pro's Fast 50 US equities pairs. To get you started successfully pair trading, it comes down to this. How would you like to have real-time stock pair trading signals sent straight to your email inbox or even straight into your Interactive Brokers account? And how about if these trading signals are coming from stock pairs that have been meticulously selected by former hedge fund professionals to ensure they have a strong chance of success? Well, that's what we're here today to talk about, and that's why we're going to present to you the Fast 50 US equities pairs. What's it all about? The Fast 50 US equities pairs are a curated set of 50 USA stock pairs that you can trade long short through our software, Pair Trade Finder Pro. We generate these from hundreds of hours of backtesting, profitability filtering, and fundamental screening of over 2,200 companies traded on the NYSE, Amex, and NASDAQ. Importantly, these companies have over $2 billion market cap and over $2 million a day of traded volume. So we do the hard work for you, the in-depth analysis, and we can walk you through all of that in a second. These are auto-loaded into our software when you subscribe, and the current batch, which we call the June vintage, was launched to our members yesterday. PTF Pro, if you so choose, will semi-auto trade these signals directly into Interactive Brokers Trader Workstation. Or if you use a different broker, you can receive the signals by email real time and trade them into any brokerage account that you use. Why do we do this? Why do we create the Fast 50? We want to get you up to speed on pair trade finding as fast and as efficiently as possible. And most importantly, we want you to get to consistent profitability as fast and as efficiently as possible. If you want to see our detailed pair selection criteria, then go to this URL here and you can see in much more detail how it is we choose these pairs. Sometimes some pictures and an example will make things a lot clearer. So right here we have an example of one of the Fast 50 pairs that are in this June vintage. This is Mitsubishi UFJ versus UBS Group. And on the very top line here you have the results of the backtest, which helped us choose this pair. So we did a 3-year back test. There were 9 trades in those 3 years. It was fully co-integrated. This is reverse co-integration as presented by our platform. It had a compound annual growth rate had you just left capital in that pair over the 3-year period of 12% with a max drawdown of 11. Importantly, the total net profit over those 3 years would have been $4,000. 100% of the trades were winners, and the average net profit of trade was about $450. Here you can see the P&L curve of each one of these 9 trades, and here you see the plus minus chart, which shows the standard deviations of the ratio versus its moving average, which caused all of these entry signals and these exits. We enter at 2.7 standard deviations plus or minus stretch, and then we exit at 1 or -1 standard deviation stretch. So we ride the divergence by about 1.7 standard deviations. And here you see these the last 2 years here. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trades, all successful. And what you can see over here is just a couple of quick screenshots from our software. It's a description of these 2 companies. They're both very large international commercial and investment banks with asset management businesses as well, and they serve customers all over the world. Here you can see from our fundamental snapshot some of the financial metrics of the companies. You can see they're very similar size, their market caps are very similar, and also their earnings are valued in a very similar way by the market at about 11 times for both of them. And we also show a Zacks rank here. The Zacks is looking at about the same kind of earnings and momentum potential for both of these stocks. So that's a quick snapshot of how we look at this and how this pair looked in its back test, which caused us to say, hey, this is a fundamentally correlated set of businesses, and in their back test they are co-integrated, they're highly correlated at almost 70% over those 3 years, and had you traded them on these parameters, you would have made a lot of money in backtest. So on that last slide, you saw the analysis and reasons why we chose one of the pairs in the June vintage of the Fast 50, and you saw the backtest results. Well, on this slide here, you can see a summary of the backtest results over the last 12 months, the latest 12 months, for all 50 of the pairs together. And that's what this analysis is here. Let's just focus on a few of the key things that came out. So there were 142 closed trades. And if you're trading on 10,000 a leg, there was about 69,000 of profit. The average profit, net profit per trade was about 484, 133 wins, 9 losses. That's a 94% win rate. The average win was about $537, and the average loss was about 232, leading to an average reward risk of 2.3 times. When you, if you go down here in this circle, you got to subtract out the interest on the margin that was required based on these estimates that we make here with some headroom to carry these positions because you're using leverage. Here we're assuming you're using about 4-to-1 leverage in CFDs, and your margin rates are 6.57% using IBKR Pro. And you got to take off about $7,400 for that year. But importantly, even after you do all of that, commission slippage and the margin in the backtest, these pairs, these 50 pairs over the last 12 months, generated about an 83% return on the account. That's almost 6% a month. Okay, so the June Vintage Fast 50, we use 3-year backtest, 50-day lookbacks on all our stretch calculations. As I mentioned before, we enter at plus or minus 2.7 standard deviations, and then we exit at plus or minus 1 standard deviation. We have a time stop, which max days in trade of 40 days. And we use, for these pairs, when you auto-load them into Pair Trade Finder Pro, at $10,000 a leg default position size. You can scale that up or down according to your account size and your good judgment. We also have some guidance on that in our frequently asked questions. Importantly, all of these pairs, we look for a co-integration as displayed by Pair Trade Finder Pro of 0.90 or better, and an average correlation of about 50% or better. In these 50 pairs, we have 100 tickers, so there's 0 duplication of companies, and there are 33 industry subsectors represented. That's a good diversification. Interestingly, 25 pairs in this June vintage made it through from the March vintage, which was our last vintage, and that vintage delivered 3.4 times reward risk and an 85% win rate and 4% in the first month of live signals after we launched them. Okay, so you can contrast these amounts with the backtest amounts of these ones to see how live signals from the last batch actually performed. When you do auto-load these pairs, watch out, there's some high volatility pairs. They're not really high volatility, but they're over 3%. We tend to position size lower once volatility crosses 3%, and we would avoid trading any pair that has a volatility in excess of 5%. So always check volatility and position size accordingly. And for those of you who are new, please remember our admonition here. Don't trade raw signals. Always check the news to filter out signals that are deriving from fundamental value shifting events, M&A, spin-offs, and the like, and avoid earnings releases. Don't trade pairs right before earning releases, and look at dividend dates and rates to make sure you're not getting hit with an adverse dividend situation if you're holding the pair long short. And yes, after going through those backtest results, I can hear the clamor of everyone saying, yeah, but that's backtest, and everyone knows backtest isn't reality. Well, that's true. Generally speaking, in-sample backtests are great, but have limitations. Out-of-sample live signals results in most quantitative trading systems generally only tend to deliver about 50% of the backtested results. Nevertheless, when we have monitored the performance of the raw, unfiltered live signals from our top 30 Fast 50 pairs, that performance has been pretty impressive when measured. And remember, these are raw and unfiltered. We don't use any trade management when making these calculations, and we aren't even filtering for those fundamental value affecting news events. So when we've done that, and we mentioned this set on the last slide, the live signals for the March vintage Fast 50, in the first 4 weeks they did 4%. And here are some other examples. You can go into our blog and you can check out the detailed analysis of this, of what others have done in the, shortly after we've launched them, in the sort of 1 to 2 months after launch. Here's one that did 11% in the first 8 weeks, another that did 17% in the first 8 weeks, another that did 9% in the first 5 weeks, and another that 12% in 3 weeks. Okay, so please, we suggest if you are having a hard time understanding that that pair trade finding with our software can actually deliver some pretty impressive results, go through these analyses. These are live signals that were available to be taken, and hopefully we will convince you. So with that kind of result, you would think that people would be pretty happy with our service. Well, we're just going to highlight here. So what do our customers say about PTF Pro and our Fast 50 curated stock pairs? These are all unsolicited, and we get some great emails, and we're very happy to receive this feedback. So if you have any good or bad, please always send it to us. We use it to try and improve our service and our techniques. We're open to any suggestions, and we take constructive criticism very positively. So here's Mitchell Weiss. I used to manage a prop firm in the 80s. We had over 1,000 traders. We did a lot of pair work back then. You have an excellent program. I've been testing your top 50 pairs for about a month or so, and it is doing quite well. Another one from Chris Stone. I'm amazed that more people are not using your software. I've managed to make 8,000 in the last 3 weeks. I credit that to you, your staff, the great videos, and the excellent software. Let me say that I love your product, and I intend on being a lifelong user. I'm truly grateful. Awesome to hear that kind of stuff. Les Cosiel, just to say how delighted I am with your product. For the first time in 10 years, I'm consistently profitable. Wow. That's stuff that makes us really happy. For somebody to have been trading for 10 years and not have consistent profitability is frustrating, to say the least. I'll let you guys and gals read through this as you like. There's a few more here. There's also about 30 or 40 more on our website. So, feel free to go to www.pairtradefinder.com and check those out. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope this presentation has been useful for you to see what it is we do at Pair Trade Finder Pro and what our Fast 50 US equities pairs can do for you and your trading. And that just leaves me with one more thing to say. Don't wait. Get started today. Hope to see you on the other side. Thank you very much for listening.